Mama, where are these dirty?
Welcome to the Hobart commuter. Well, I had planned to talk about e-bikes in this episode, in the context of the whole idea for this channel was predicated on the belief that UTAS moving into the city would mean an influx of students in the city moving between the city and Sandy Bay, and students enjoying cheap transportation would get on their bikes, and that would force a critical mass, which would then result in the government having to react by producing more city infrastructure. And I was going to talk about how that turned out to be wrong, and I think the actual critical mass is going to come from the e-bike and its ability to allow a lot of different peoples of varying fitnesses to safely ride in the city, and to comfortably ride in the city. Basically flattens the terrain with its assisted motor. And also the fact that Hobart is a good testing ground for this, because not only the hilly ground that the e-bike can conquer, but also the mindset. Hobart is the 84% of people in Hobart take a private vehicle to work. So there's a huge mindset. In fact, it's often said that Tasmanians would ride to the toilet if they could, which is probably not an exaggeration, but a little bit facetious, let's say. But I don't want to talk about any of that. I'll just add quite quickly. I was going to add some bad news to that as well, and that the Bicycle Tuesday, Super Tuesday count by Bicycle Network Tasmania, that was recently done, and the numbers are flatline. So e-bike may not be having the impact that I anticipate. And in fact, what the consensus is that the thing that will have, or the element that will have the greatest influence on making more people ride is in fact separate infrastructure. And that's fair enough. Cities that have done that have seen a big influx of people riding. So we just have to wait, and it's a slow progression. Hobart's doing a good job, so I'm sure it'll continue. But I won't talk any more about that, because I wanted to talk about this being the second to last episode, or what I think is the penultimate episode of the Hobart commuter. I've sort of lost a bit of enthusiasm for this project. It went on a lot longer than I thought it would. It's in part because I want to direct my energies into other projects, but also I think it's actually more to do with the fact that I don't really want to wear the camera anymore. I'm still trying to work out why this is. Now I kind of, let's say I told a mistruth when I started this project. I didn't start wearing this camera to do this vlog. I actually started wearing this camera out of fear. I had a very bad altercation with someone on the road, whereupon they threatened me with their car, and it really frightened me, to the extent that I wanted to get a camera in case it happened again, because I had a bad experience with the police too. There was nothing I could do. I didn't get a plate number, I wasn't thinking straight, and I was fearful. And I feel like I don't have that fear anymore. At least it's lessened. I still have fear, of course I do, but it's much less than it was. And I don't want to wear the camera for that reason anymore, and I never was particularly comfortable about wearing the camera in the first place, and I'll tell you why in a minute. I think there's probably two reasons. The first reason is something that my wife said to me when I floated the idea of doing this, and that was that I don't really want to be living in a state, or a community even, that surveils itself. I want to more live in a community that's a bit more trusting, and I need to set an example by that. Going around with a camera is I think it borders on a very passive-aggressive stance, so I don't want to do that anymore. And the other reason is, I actually think the camera is changing the way I ride and changing the way I behave on the road. and it's for the worse. I find that when I was wearing the camera, or I found when I was wearing the camera, that I was a little bit more antagonistic and aggressive towards drivers. I was looking for some kind of slight against me. It's difficult to explain, but it's a different mentality. It's a very alert mentality, a very aggressive and on guard mentality, and it's subtle. It's not like I'm going tearing up the streets or anything, but it's still there, and I feel a certain freedom riding without the camera, a bit more of a calmness about my mindset, and I see no reason to push against that in the interest of the channel. Yeah, so that's it really. This isn't the last episode. I'll do one more. I've got a pretty good idea. I'll go out with a bang. But that's essentially why I'm giving it, or resting it, or retiring it. Let's say. I don't know if I'll come back, but for now at least. Thank you for watching, and I will see you one last time before the end of the year. Wait.